Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World. And today we're talking a very popular subject, something that a lot of people always note when you talk a pocket knife, and that is how well they carry in the pocket. We're going to be looking at some of the best knives that I think carry best in the pocket. Keeping it pretty simple, going to get these off here, and we're going to get going because I don't have a whole lot, but definitely more than a top 10 list. So I broke them up into two categories. We have a budget category, and we also have the over $100 category. And what we're going to be focusing on, what carries best in the pocket, there's going to be four factors. The lighter it is, the slimmer it is, the deeper it carries, and the more minimal pocket pecking are kind of what we're going to be looking at here as we take a look at these knives. All of them have some pros and cons, but I think these are some of the best ones I have available as an example. We're going to start off with a pretty popular one. This is going to be the only fifth pocket knife on the list. This is going to be none other than the CJRB Maileah, and it could be a fifth pocket knife, but it could also be just your regular everyday carry. It's not tiny, but it is small, coming in at like 2.4 inches, 5 inch, something like that, right around the 2.4, 2.5 inch mark. But most importantly, not too thick, an excellent deep carry pocket clip with recessed screws. There's nothing really bulky about this knife, and of course, as you guys know, this is a front flipper with thumb studs, so there's nothing that would be pecking or scratching your finger as you reach in the pocket, and it just rides very well. Basically disappears in the pocket with that deep carry pocket clip. You're only going to be seeing maybe, about that much of the knife. So there's just a lot of very good things about this. The build is good. The price is really good at I think $40. Just overall a very, very solid knife, but most importantly, a very discreet, it's one of those knives that it almost disappears when you're carrying it because it's not long either. The shorter a knife is, the less it's going to have any type of that flat tension in your pocket when you sit down or pushing up against your pants or anything. So very, very nice little small discreet carry here, the CJRB Maileah. And next up, this is one that you don't see on the channel very often. I don't know if you've ever seen it on the channel. I think you have seen it once in a top list. But this is none other than the CJRB Centros. Now, this knife is big, but it is also pretty slim. It's pretty slim, and it has a very nice deep carry pocket clip. Those screws there look like they're sticking out a lot, and they kind of are, but they haven't gotten in the way of my jean pockets or any of the pockets on my pants that I wear, so I have no complaints there. It's also a very slender knife. So when you put this in the pocket, it's, you're carrying a lot of knife, but you're not taking up the whole pocket with width of the knife. So that is very nice. And on top of all that, it just, there's nothing to peck your hands. Your finger isn't obviously going to hit the thumb stud or anything. The jimping here isn't super aggressive, but it's kind of rounded just a little at the top here. So as you reach in your pocket, it's not necessarily going to scrape you or scratch you too hard. So it's a very comfortable carry in that regards. A little on the heavier side because it's a budget knife, so it's got the liners on it. The somewhat thicker liners, but again, for this knife, you're talking anywhere from $30 or $32 up to I think this was $55-ish, something like that. I don't know if the micarta is still available. This is a Blade HQ exclusive, but you can get the regular stock models. I believe they start at like $32 or maybe even a little less than that. A very, very affordable price, and one of the more underrated budget EDCs out there. Action is amazing, and it just feels very good in hand with the contoured scales and overall shape of the handle. But again, very slender carry, fits in the pocket very well, deserving to be on the list. This is the CJRB Centros. Next up, another one that is no stranger to the channel, another one of my personal favorites. That's the Civivi McKenna. Super light, super slim, deep carry, and not the thinnest knife in the world, but not thick by any means either. And that's really everything you look for in a knife that carries well in the pocket. I love carrying this knife, especially to some type of an office setting, or if I'm just running some errands, doing some, casual stuff. It's a great blade to have for any situation like that. And it just looks really cool. Most importantly, yes, these G10 liners are thin. They're not heavy at all. I'm assuming this is steel liners in here in the liner lock, also very thin. So you're talking a very, very light knife. I want to say this is somewhere in the very, very low 2 point something, maybe 2.2, 2.3 ounces, maybe even less than that. I should have had a scale with me, but I think the batteries on that are dead anyway. But a very, very light carry, of course. Weight comes with size, and there's not a lot of size to this knife. So very, very pocket friendly. That is the Civivi McKenna. Next up, we have another Civivi. We actually have a couple more Civivis, but for just good reason. This one you see on a lot of other channels, a lot of other episodes of stuff revolving knives. It's the Civivi Elementum. But now the Elementum it has a lot of things going for it. It really has to be on this list. It's somewhat slim. It's relatively light, all in all, for what it is. It's really not heavy. It carries very well in the pocket, and it's all round. It's very round all over the place. So some of these other knives on the list, as well as some that you've already seen, you'll notice points somewhere. Maybe down here it comes to a point, or up towards the top of where the blade sticks out on after it's open. There's points on the ends of the handles. The Civivi Elementum is very smooth. There's nothing on here that is going to poke you or be uncomfortable if you sit down and the knife gets pinched between your leg or something, or if something hits you where the knife is. There's nothing pointy that's going to hit your thigh or hit your leg, and you're gonna be like, oh, what the heck was that? You just don't get that with this knife. I think it's one of the more underrated aspects of it is just how smooth the shape of it is. Makes for a very comfortable carry. You also have a nice deep carry pocket clip. So all in all, it really is a very nice package that carries very well. I think a lot of times people look at it and say, oh, the price is great, the blade's great, it's a simple design, but it works well, the ergos are fantastic. It is all that. The Elementum really is a budget rock star, but it does still, I think it's a little underrated how well it carries in the pocket. And I think a lot of that has to do with the smooth edges all around the knife. That is the Civivi Elementum. Now our other Civivi is kind of close to this, but in my opinion, it's just a little better than the Elementum. I do like it a little more, and that is the newer Civivi Ortis, and primarily in this setup right here, because you guys know this is kind of the blinged out version of this knife from Civivi. They also offer it with, I think, FRN handles and like 9CR 18 MOV steel. I don't mind that, but I like this setup a lot more, particularly because this is real carbon fiber. This is not laminate. This is real carbon fiber, so it's a lot lighter. This knife is slightly slimmer, slightly lighter, and almost as round as the Elementum. You have a few more points, so to say. Not really points, but not quite as round up around here. And you also have a little more of a pokey area where the flipper tab is. It's also a small flipper tab, but it has a lot of jimping, so you can maybe feel that on your finger reaching in the pocket. But again, it's not something that's going to peck super bad, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But again, it's lighter, it's slimmer, and I also think it looks a little better. So I will give a few bonus points for that. I love that clip point blade. Nice hollow grind with that black rubbed Damascus blade is very, very nice. And the ergos are fantastic. But again, you fold this guy up, you put it in your pocket, and it's another one you could very well forget it is there. Very deep carry, almost disappears. You're going to have just a little tip sticking up here, so not too bad at all there. This one comes in, it's the higher end version. I think it's like $90, maybe $85, $90, somewhere around that. Not too bad at all. Again, it's easily one of my favorite Civivis. Definitely in the top three, I would have to say top three. A great piece that carries extremely well, the Civivi Ortis. Now we're going to go into the cold steel category. You don't see a whole lot of cold steels on this channel, not because I don't like them, but because, I don't know, you just don't. But you will today, and this is the cold steel Airlite. Probably should be a little more careful when I'm whipping cold steels out because everybody knows they have razor sharp edges. But what you also get with this is exactly what the Airlite is. It is slim and light. I mean, there's just it makes it. That's what defines the knife, and it also has a sick little tanto blade. Cold steel makes some of the best tantos in the business, in my opinion, and this one's no different. Feels surprisingly good in the hand. It's very slim, very light. You don't have any liners, so that knocks off a lot of the weight of this knife. This guy's coming in, I believe, in the high 70s. $72, $82, something like that. Not too bad for what you're getting. A decent steel, OS 10A steel. I think everybody knows cold steel is kind of known for excellent heat treating on their steel, so you're going to get the most out of it. Their steel outperforms most other of the same steels from other manufacturers. I mean, not by leaps and bounds, but they are a little better. It's kind of just the rule of thumb when it comes to cold steel. But all in all, just a great EDC that could really stand some hard use too. A little thicker than average stock, extremely fat tip. I mean, you can really do some work with this guy. Not worry about breaking that one bit. But again, carries in the pocket very well. Not deep carry, but it's slim enough and light enough to put it on this list, I think. I think it's a nice option, and it's a good change up for some people that get tired of some people don't care about deep carry clips. So this is one for you guys, and it's one of my favorites. It's a great offering from Cold Steel, the Cold Steel Airlite. One more in the budget or under $100 category, and we may have saved the best for last. That is the Ferrum Forge Stinger. As everyone knows, this was my best knife under $100 you can get for a handful of reasons. How well it carries in the pocket is just one of them. It's nice and slim. It's not too wide. It's a little on the average size and width, so no big deal there. But you have a perfect pocket clip with a recessed clip, recessed screw. It's not too long. Crap off there. It's not too long, and that is something that I really have begun to look more and more at in a pocket knife, because some of them, there we go, some of them come really long down the handle. Like there's some clips that come up to like this screw, and they're kind of ugly to me. I don't like a really long pocket clip. Definitely prefer a shorter one like this. It just comes up maybe a third or a quarter of the handle. This is a fantastic pocket clip. Holds very well to the pocket. Doesn't show too much. Isn't a full satin. It's got a nice little stonewash or blasted finish on it, so it looks really well in the pocket. Another one that could possibly just pass for a pen. Because it's not too distinguishable as a knife, especially to someone that isn't, a knife person, so to say. But regardless, this carries extremely well. I think also pairs well with, maybe even some slacks or something for a guy that wants to keep that tactical look, but also get a little classier in his dress up. I think this would work very well for that as well. Ergonomics are fantastic, using Nitro V steel, which is going to boast great edge retention and great corrosion resistance. Overall, a very nice steel, and again, those ergos are just fantastic. Ergos just as good as how well it carries in the pocket, making this an absolute surefire home run if you are interested in it. It's the Ferrum Forge Stinger, and it's a great one to check out. Next up, we are over the $100 threshold, and we're going to go straight to the knife that gave me this idea to make this video, and it is none other than the TRM Atom. This is one of the best you can get for how well it carries in the pocket. It is super slim, super light, super deep. It really is a complete package. The only thing that could possibly make this a little more pocket friendly would be the width of it to narrow it down, but you don't want to do that because the ergos are so good on it. Ergos are good. It's very smooth, so there's no hot spots. And there's nothing, again, there's no real points on the handle anywhere. You definitely have a little more down here, but when you have it in hand, it's fantastic. When you're carrying this in the pocket, it literally disappears. And for a bigger knife, that's usually not the case. That's pretty rare for a bigger knife to just disappear like that when it's in the pocket. So this is a pretty rare one to find. This is also completely made and sourced in the USA by Three Rivers Manufacturing. Definitely worth checking out. They're a little hard to get, but they last a really long time, and they're just extremely well made. Not something you want to go beat on really hard. Definitely not the strength of like a ZT build, but an excellent carry, excellent EDC. And again, especially if you want a bigger knife, but you have to wear slacks and dress up, you could get some different scales of like carbon fiber or wood, and they carry very, very well in the pocket, making for a pretty good office or gentleman's carry. That is the TRM Atom. Next up, we've got a classic, one that probably everybody knows. This is none other than the Benchmade 940 Osborne. It is slim, it is thin, it is deep, and it fits good in the hand. I mean, we're kind of getting a theme with a lot of these knives. Thin and slender is really the way to go if you're wanting something that carries really well. And of course, deep carry is good too. The Benchmade 940 has pretty much carried that, kind of started it, I think. I think this was probably one of the knives that really became iconic for a lot of reasons, and there's a reason they've been making this for so long. How well it carries is really just one of them, but there's a lot of positive things you can point out, but sticking to the carryability of it, it's very friendly, it's very good, and again, it's one, it's been around so long, it may be one of those things where people run out of things to say about it because it's already been said. So again, it also says a lot for, you still see this knife on lists because it's that good. And this one also carries very good, the Benchmade 940 Osborne. Next up, one that is made to carry quietly. That's a quiet carry Waypoint. And it is thin, it's slim, it's pretty light, but this is also rust-proof, completely rust-proof, so you have marine-grade everything with Van Eyck steel, I guess is the best way to put it, to make it quick, but a nice deep carry clip. Not as deep as some of the other knives, but still plenty deep enough to where it does just what the brand says. It's a quiet carry. It's not something to bring attention to yourself, but also they wanted to provide kind of the, a top quality knife with the best materials, the best action, and just a nice complete overall package. And they definitely did that here. I think they absolutely did that. This is one of my favorite EDCs of all time, a knife I absolutely love, and I'm looking forward to see what else Quiet Carry comes out with in the next year or two. This is the Waypoint, and it is easily one of the best pocket-friendly knives on the list. Next up, another new one that has never been on a list. It's just had a review, and this is the Urban EDC F5.5, a Jesper Voxness design. And this one was kind of it was a little up in the air. I wasn't sure if it was worth being on this list, but then I put it back in my pocket, and I realized it had to be on this list. Not too thick, nice and short, excellent deep carry pocket clip. And again, it's really not that heavy. It has a thicker blade stock, so you definitely feel some weight in the blade, but you don't feel much weight at all in the handles. Not too thick, very sturdy with nice thin liners to add the strength, but not add the weight. And it's just a good one. It's one of the best I've had from Jesper, and he's one of my favorite designers. Ergonomics are fantastic. And again, you put it in the pocket with the short length of it folded up. It really doesn't bother you at all. Like I said, it's not the lightest knife in the world, but it's not heavy enough too to where you're going to notice it in your pants pocket, unless you're wearing like basketball shorts. Then obviously, yeah, you're probably going to feel that. But any type of regular daily pants that people wear, not going to be an issue. And it's just a good one with no flipper, no type of tab to mess with your hand or anything. It really is deceivingly great when it comes to carrying in the pocket. That is the Urban EDC F5.5. Next up, we got our first Spyderco on the list. First and only Spyderco. This is the Ikuchi. And to me, it's one of the more underrated, if not the most underrated knife in Spyderco's lineup. Maybe not the most, but it's easily up there, probably in the top 2 or 3. Super slender and thin. It's really not as light as it looks because it's got some pretty thick liners in there on both sides, so that adds some weight to it. But man, you put this in the pocket, and I mean, you basically have still a full whole open pocket because it's so slim and slender. They replaced a flipper tab with this little wheel flipper, which is very nice. You have to get used. You have to know how to use this. You can't use the tip of your finger. You can, and you can do it, but it'll eat your fingertip up like insanely quick. You want to take the kind of the fat padding of your finger, right, the middle of your finger there, your index most likely is what you'll be using. Just press, push, and there it is. It's out. Push down, I guess. You don't want to push straight in, but yeah, press, push down, and it flies out. It's a very classy, stylish blade, nice and thin, nice little slicer, but more than anything, it has an incredible, it's got that really nice Spyderco deep carry wire clip to where most of it is going to be completely concealed in the pocket. And again, it's everything that a pocket-friendly knife should be, with just a little extra weight. Could be a little lighter if they could find a way to make this knife a little lighter and maybe even a little slimmer. Get rid of these liners and use like titanium or something. Well, no, because then you'd have to figure out a way to work the compression lock. But no, regardless, this knife doesn't need a lot of changes. It really is good the way it is. It's not super pricey. This one's coming in at like $135, I think, $134. Not the worst thing in the world. But again, a very good overall knife and an excellent, slim, nice, pocket-friendly carry. The Spyderco Ikuchi. Got 3 more. We're going to go with this obvious one, kind of get it out of the way because it's on already so many videos. This is the Benchmade Bugout. Everybody knows about it. This is actually a bad example of a bugout for a pocket-friendly version because I have brass scales on this one. I hate the Grivery scales. But if you get one with the Grivery scales or with the G10 scales or the CF Elite scales, this guy is coming in, I believe, under 2 ounces. I want to say it's 1 point something ounces. Super light, extremely pocket friendly. It's also a lot thinner with those, a little thinner with those. So it's just it's a pocket all-star. Super light, super everything friendly for the pocket. Whatever you're looking for, the Bugout would be a very good option. But again, I still think this carries pretty well in the pocket, even with the brass scales. It's just a heavy knife. So if you're okay with the weight and you're not going to wear them with basketball shorts, then I'd also recommend looking at the brass scales. But if not, the Grivery scales do offer an excellent weight reduction and very pocket-friendly option. Last up, we're going to end with a couple of Protechs. The first one being the best one, in my opinion, for overall EDC, the Protech Malibu. But what the Malibu also has is a perfect pocket clip, making it very pocket-friendly, completely recessed everything, goes right in the pocket, knife almost disappears, and it's just, again, it's a good one. It's a really good one. The jimping on the tab is more towards the top, so when it's sitting in your pocket and you reach down, you're not getting hit with that jimping, which can sometimes feel like sandpaper, very aggressive. You don't have that here. You obviously have a flipper tab that you'll feel, but again, it rubs, it doesn't scratch. I think that was worth noting because some of these other knives that have flipper tabs, they can actually be really abrasive if they have the jimping going all the way around them. So that is worth pointing out. Not the end of the world either way, but when you're talking and grading a knife just on how well it carries in the pocket, that's kind of a big thing. But again, it's just not the thinnest knife in the world, but definitely middle of the road. But again, the pocket clip is what really makes it for this. The pocket clip and then just the overall size. Not going to hog your pocket, and you still get a lot of knife for such an average size package overall. That's the Protech Malibu, a very good one. But when it comes to carrying in the pocket, there is a Protech better, and it's this one, the Protec Newport. This is one of their snappy little automatics, but it is much thinner. Actually, I'll just bring the Malibu back out here real quick, and we can compare the two. As you can see, considerably thinner. And when you're talking about carrying something in your pocket, that little difference there really does come into play, and also how slender it is. That will also come into play. It's kind of hard to put it over here because the aspect of the camera, it makes it look a little bigger than it is, but it is noticeably slimmer and more slender. Also much lighter. This is much lighter. It has a thinner blade, a little bit less blade overall, less blade material, even though the length is close to the same. But again, very nice light package, excellent office carry, or special occasion when you really want to be fancy and classy. This is obviously a little dressed up with the rose gold coated blade and button, but still just a very, very classy occasion knife, and it carries excellently with a super, little too long, but very deep carry pocket clip with recessed screws, so you're good to go in that area too. And again, it's just a very, very, very excellent option if you're looking for, especially a little bit of a higher end. This one's coming in, I think, $226, something like that, because of the coating they put on the blade and the carbon fiber inlay. There's a little more work that goes into this knife, and of course, as you know, Protech is sourced and assembled and made all in the good old grand US of A out in California. So they're doing a lot of good things over there at Protech, and this is just one of the many examples of it, but a very good one if you're looking for one that is very pocket friendly. So that's the list I got for you guys today. I'm sure there's a blue million other ones that are going to carry in a pocket very, very well. Let me know, what are some of your guys' favorite that you have in your collection that you just, if you had to pick one, what's your best pocket-friendly knife you guys have in your collection? Look forward to hearing from you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, I'm out.